guys, and welcome back. I think this is going to make episode 12, and on this episode we're actually going to be installing the front fenders for this build, which is going to be one of the first things to start making it really look like a truck again. Now, to be clear, this is not a how-to. My install is going to be vastly different from somebody else's install. This is going to require inner fenders. They're a lot different because there's an engine cage, so just wanted to get that out of the way. This is more of a how I did it, not a how-to. So let's get after it. All right, so first things first, these are going to be the inner fenders I'm going to be using. These are made by Izzy Fab. Dirt King also makes a really badass set, so it's up to you which one you want to go with. I like the Izzy ones because they're aluminum. Also, they come normally with a fuse box setup that'll help you raise the fuse box up a lot higher. I think they'll clear a bigger tire than the Dirt King ones, but don't quote me on that. I've not compared one versus the other. In my case, I was able to just buy the outside shell. And that way, if these don't fit, I'm basically able to get them on and I can trim them as much as I want. The only task of these is to just hold the fenders and set them up straight. And I figured this was gonna be a lot easier way just to get these than to kind of mount a tube and try to get everything level, because trying to get the body lines right is super important to me. So I think solid money spent right there. Let's get these things on and see how they fit. Okay, well that's going to be a very bad representation on how easy these are. When you're starting off with an OEM truck, there is a lot of teardown to actually get these things on, but when it comes to installing the glass, these things do make it so much easier to get it right. So with that being said, obviously in my case, I already had everything removed, so it was just basically lining them up and throwing a few bolts in, and they were ready to go. So from this point on, I'm sure Izzy's actually comes with bolting locations already, but in my case, I got mine kind of rushed. So I'm gonna drill in these bolts right here and throw in some riv nuts. That way, depending on how often you work on your truck, you'll know that trying to get to the bottom side of a nut is a pain, and you end up dropping the other end of that nut over and over until you get it in. So this case, I'm doing it right and doing it once, and I'm actually gonna be putting riv nuts in these locations here. So I'm gonna start drilling and get to that. And now you see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts all backed up right here. If you guys haven't seen a riv nut tool, they are super cool. That one's at Harbor Freight, you're able to get for like 50 bucks. And it is so worth it. I have found so many uses for these where it's so nice just to be able to bolt something on and not need to back it up. So with that being said, we got these set up. It's time to start hanging our glass. So let's get that pulled out. All right, well, right here, these are going to be the Fiberwerx 6-inch fenders. As you can see, for one, they're carbon fiber. That, I get it, it's a bougie thing, but in my case, I just leave them raw because it matches my paint color so much. So not really a bougie thing. It's actually cheaper for me to run these as carbon than it is to actually get white fenders painted my body color. So that's the reason I'm running them in carbon. Also, I've had these in storage for about, I would say 3 years at this point. Had them brand new. I just knew I was waiting to replace the glass that I had with this stuff because, you know, I wanted everything from this portion of the build to be brand new, ready to go, you know, just have everything fresh again. So these are probably going to require a little bit of trimming. We will see how much kind of hell they give me, but I don't care what brand you go with, whether it be Advanced, Fiberwerx, McNeil, whichever one, they all require a little bit of trimming. It's impossible to almost get a perfect product. It's just, you see how lucky you got. So with that being said, let's get these on and fit them up. So far, they're looking pretty good. Now, one of the things with these Izzy Fab inner fenders here, they actually replace the stock springs that run right here with a gas strut, so you need a clearance for that. And with that, I have this top section of the fender I'm gonna need to clear for that gas strut to have room to move right there. Now I still obviously have plenty of mounting points in front of that portion there, and then we'll have mounting points back here as well. So I'm gonna get this trimmed up and then try and see how they fit next. Well, now we got that front fender on, looking at it. I know a lot of people are gonna ask why I left this film on. This is exactly why, because I'm gonna be taking these headlights on and off over and over and trying to fit glass. I don't wanna scratch the lenses if I can help it. So with that, we've got it laid out and we got the hood down. This is a little bit more gap than I wanna see, and I can kind of figure out where that trimming needs to be. Looks like around the headlight, we're looking good. It actually looks like up here, right in this corner here, I need to actually throw a little trim, and then that way I can get that fender in just a little bit more and try to get that kind of body gap absolutely perfect. So I'm gonna give a little trim up there and hopefully do a little bit at a time, and hopefully that fixes our issue. But other than that, looking at all these other body lines, it actually looks like these things are fitting up very, very nicely. So let's see what we got from here. Okay, so now we got that fender hung up here. Looking at the body lines against the door, everything looks really good there. The door opens and clears. And then with that, we got this hood line right there. And following it along, it looks really good. So from here, I'm gonna start marking my bolts, and I'll kind of show you how I do that, and then we'll start drilling and getting this mounted. So for marking the bottom sides of these bolts, obviously you may want something that's black, but in my case, because my fenders are black, I need something that stands out. So I was able to take a 1/4-inch drill bit right here, and notice this is our riv nut right here, and I'm able to slide that through, and it's not gonna have any give, so you can't get off center. So with that, I've been taking this marking paint right here, and I just throw a little bit on the top, just like that, and then I go and I slide it through the bottom of these, and then I basically barely dab it on the bottom side of this fender so I know exactly where I need to drill. That way everything lines up, and when I go to throw these back on and throw the bolts in, everything will sit exactly the way it does right now. So I'm gonna get to doing that, and then we'll get this drilled out and we're ready to be mounted. So let's get after it. So as you can see right there, I have 1, 2, 3, and 4 white dots right there, which are exactly where I need to drill for this fender to sit on there. So I'm gonna get these drilled out and we'll get them mounted up. Okay, well that's gonna just about do it on the install of the glass here. In that last little time lapse, I was able to get these bolts behind the door in, and everything is fully in and bolted in, and everything lines up super great. So huge shout out to that. Obviously, as you guys saw, there was only a minimal amount of trimming just up here at this section, and then down here for that gas strut to be able to clear, but that wasn't really because of the fenders, it was because of the Izzy Fab inner fenders. So maybe a specific trim there. But other than that, I didn't have to trim around the headlight at all, which is super common, I feel like, when installing a lot of these fenders here. But you know, in the end, everything lines up super great. They look awesome. So shout out again to Fiberwerx on that. I believe they are my only option for this body style truck. Advance said a long time ago that they were going to come out with a set, and it's just never happened. So I'm going to say that they aren't going to, but again, I'm not sure they could really make them look better than these. So super stoked. And with that being said, I think this is my quickest turnaround video. I think the last one I put out was only a few days ago. I kind of took a couple weeks off of work so I can kind of hunker down on the truck. A lot of these parts are actually in storage in a spare bedroom that I have. That we have a baby girl coming in October, and well, that kind of storage for truck parts is turning into a nursery. So I got to really start getting these out and start getting this truck done. So well, once again, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you want to, and kind of keep up with the build. And yeah, hope to see you guys on the next one. Bye.